I love anime. I really do. Like movies, they can be an escape from the real world into some interestingly crafted fantasy ones. But unlike movies, cartoons, anime, even video games can really push the boundaries of fantasy to an extremity. That being said, anime does have its major flaws. So here, I'm going to talk about the things I don't like about anime. Now before I start, do know that these are just my opinions, so no getting offended or anything. Number 1. Fan service. Okay, I have a little love-hate thing for fan service. In fact, I think fan service can be done correctly, and then there's ways to do it completely wrong. Now, let me get this out there. I honestly don't mind the anime that are made to be fan service. That was what they were created for, and were meant for people that find enjoyment from it. One can easily just not watch those anime and be fine. What I dislike is when they shove fan service into anime that actually have potential to be compelling with a good story and characters. People complain about it for a reason. It's distracting and takes them out of the immersion into the anime. It actually makes it less enjoyable for those actually in there for the plot. It also degrades characters that might have felt important, but then just become viewed as walking butts and boobs. Now, I did say there were correct ways to do fan service in my opinion. One of these ways is making OVAs, or original viewing animations. Attack on Titan actually has a great example of this in its episode 3.25 OVA, in which although the fan service isn't really anything sensual, it is more goofy and laid back than its usual dark tone from the series. It's basically a separate episode and doesn't interrupt the story or seriousness of the anime. Another way to do fanservice is through their official art. Like OVAs, they won't be part of the story, they're just images one can look for and view completely separate from the anime. Another good way to have fanservice in an anime is by having a character that actually matches the description of such a fanservice moment. For example, Lust from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. She was very voluptuous and seductive, but even then, she was actually a strong female character with purpose. One more way I can think of for fanservice to be done correctly is what Kill la Kill did so brilliantly. They embraced it and made fanservice the actual plot. It's very meta and self-aware, and surprisingly worked and meshed well with the amount of care they put in their story and characters. There are indeed ways that fanservice can be accepted and well done, but as I said, when it disrupts the tone of an anime or distracts viewers from being immersed into their world, it can be really annoying. Number 2. Similarities. I say similarities because I don't want to say lack of creativity, even though I do sometimes think that. You see, I notice this a lot and mostly in popular anime, usually the action ones. For example, Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, Attack on Titan, even My Hero Academia, etc. If you step back and see them as a whole, their similarities to each other are very obvious and to me can seem downright boring. Let me show you what I mean by describing the similarities in all of these anime. There's a main character that inspires everybody else in their anime with anything they do. They can literally take a crap and there'll probably be some kind of symbolism or something inspiring. The main character is also determined. They never give up, no matter what. Till death, and not even then. Oh, let's also include the character that's an asshole to them, just to have a little rivalry in there. Oh yeah, and the girl that cares for the main character a lot. How can we forget that, right? You think I'm done? Nope, let me give you some more similarities. The main character is also missing a parent, or even both, and they have some kind of power that's above everyone else's in some way. But okay, enough with the main character, now the worlds of the anime. Usually there's always some kind of military or group with ranks. Of course, since we have that, we need the opposite uniform group that will oppose them. A lot of the times, there's a villain that's trying to either bring their version of peace to the world, but really they're just terrorizing it, or they're trying to take over or destroy it. All of these things and more can make those anime feel less special and more like a copy and paste of each other but with different skins. Hell, there's even jokes about that literally. It practically feels like a lack of creativity to me. But I don't want to say that this is the case, because they do have hints of imagination in general. Maybe I should call it a lack of originality. Number 3. Animation. I mean, it's in the name. Anime is animation. I pay an extreme amount of attention to the details on it. I just adore animation. Whether it will be from an anime, old Disney cartoon movies, or even from passionate artists or YouTubers. I love to appreciate the amount of time, sweat, and tears that go into making a cartoon move, especially when they turn out so beautiful and fluent. But like film and their special or visual effects, there are ways to make animation awkward or not touch the potential it can reach. For example, I very much dislike when CG is used in anime, other than a few exceptions. I find that very distracting and it always looks odd or out of place. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and what's worse for me, I tend to always notice when it's being used, even when they hide it really well. Maybe it's the polygonal nature or the puppet looks and movements that always give it away. Like I said though, there are a few exceptions in which I can tolerate CG in anime. Those exceptions are using it on technology, for example, the Dominators in Psycho-Pass, or using it on robots or more structured and polygonal objects in the background. Those are the few times I think it can truly have a chance to fool the eye. But when it comes to making a full organic character out of CG for a small scene, then revert to its usual anime format, or something that's not CG interacting with something that is, it just looks really off. CG in anime isn't the only thing I dislike when it comes to animation though. I also get bothered when the animation doesn't match the tone. One big example of this is an anime that disappointed me greatly because it could have been so much better with its story, characters, direction, and animation. Devilman Crybaby. If you want to see my full thoughts on it, go check out my review. For now, I'm only tackling the animation. What I'm referring to is how it didn't really match the tone it was trying to convey. Devilman Crybaby's tone was a mixture of being over the top yet also dark and gritty. I thought it was genius and something that could have been amazing if it were backed up by the animation, but sadly it wasn't. Although there were a few moments in which the animation was creative and matched the tone it was trying to give off, 80% of the time it felt bland and like it couldn't keep up with the uniqueness of it, which was a letdown since the format and style was beautiful and fluent, and the potential was there, but they didn't quite reach it. One example of actually matching the tone they're trying to convey is pretty much any anime Gainax and Trigger have come up with. They use bright and vibrant and extremely over the top animation, but it's not always the same throughout their different anime. They never lack creativity and clearly establish the mood of their anime with colors and fluent and expressive movement. Another good example is the creators of 5cm per second and Your Name. The tone is more realistic and grounded, yet the animation is solid, fluent, and the personalities and emotions are able to be read through the subtle details in their movements. I understand that animation teams are switched throughout the episodes due to budget and time restrictions, but when the changes in the animation are drastic, noticeable, and very stiff, it tends to come to my attention easily and bothers me. Number 4. Last but not least, the fandoms. These are what annoy me the most when it comes to anime. They can really ruin one for me and for other people. I've encountered many that don't even want to glance at an anime because they know the fandom is, well, too much. Basically, they're annoying. Very annoying. From what I've experienced, they always exaggerate the characters' personalities, get overly infuriated when something happens in the story that they don't agree with. They obsess over an anime to the point that they think everything in it is perfection, and if you disagree even a little, well, get ready for some whining from the fandom. I mean, I can guarantee that this video itself is really bringing some anime lovers Nine-Tailed Fox to Super Saiyan mode because of the title alone. Don't roll sync on me, please. There's actually been many occasions when I genuinely dislike parts of an anime, or feel that an anime is getting boring or the magic faded, and then I get scolded by people that don't like listening to opinions that are different from their own. I've gone through situations where I give my thoughts and input by commenting on social media, and these over-obsessed people reply to me so aggressively and obviously offended. Eventually I tell them to not take it so seriously, and it always leads to them saying something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm not taking it too seriously. Clearly you're the one taking it too seriously." But they're the ones that replied to my comment in the first place and could have easily just ignored it. It sort of gets a laugh out of me because of how baffling and ridiculous these anime brainwashed people get. But it makes it hard to like anime when I can't express my true feelings for it, both good and bad. It even makes it seem like you're only allowed to say good things about it, or you'll be shunned by the fandoms. And that's sad, because due to that behavior and the fandom's prohibition of critiquing anime critically, warts and all, the good things and the bad, room for improvement and creativity for new anime stories, characters, and animation could become slower. I mean, I already gave various examples of how quite a few of the most popular ones are basically the same thing. In the end, it's fine to be in a fandom and adore your favorite anime. I mean, damn, I myself have a list of waifus that'll never exist. But when you can't take a joke or get so easily offended to the point that you're attacking anyone that has something negative to say about it, there's a problem. These are some of the things I dislike about anime. I still love it when it's good, and I do believe there are a lot of amazing ones out there. But I can't help the feeling that we're running out of actually unique and wonderful anime. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if there's any reasons that you don't like anime that I didn't list here, I want to know, so go ahead and comment. I would love to hear some of your opinions. See you guys next time.